patreon.com/monkeyworks.us. You'll be greeted with 4 membership levels. Starting at the first tier is Spider Monkey. This tier is $3 per month, gaining Discord benefits, exclusive access to ad-free content, live Sitreps, Q&As, and video archives. If that's not enough, step up to the next level of Howler Monkey. For just $5 a month, you'll not only have Spider Monkey's benefits, but you'll get exclusive discounts to the workshop plus voting voice on new products. Next up is Space Monkey. At $10 per month, this is the ultimate level of Overwatch. At this altitude, you'll gain access to no-ad content, full archive, voting power, workshop discounts, and monthly AMAs where you can ask Monkey anything. Lastly, for the Monkeyworks superfan, you can become the Banana Knot. You'll get all the benefits of Space Monkey plus an exclusive Monkeyworks item every month you are subscribed that you can't buy in the workshop. Head over to patreon.com/monkeyworksus to begin your membership and be a part of a God-loving, patriotic community.
All right. Hey, welcome, folks. Mil Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be your Sitrep. It's 11 a.m. Central Time coming to you from the great state of Texas, and it is May 31st, 2023. And so without further ado, let's hop over the board. If you would, hit that like, subscribe, bell for notification. It helps our channel out tremendously. And so without further ado, let's get over here to our board. Sitting at around 213 aircraft up. I've already taken the liberty to remove Tex 2s and the T-38s out of there, which were about roughly 60 of those aircraft up. So that settles us in at around 213. Now, the big movers here for today, let's take a look. We've got some tankers up, which are going to kind of give us, over the U.S. wise, what about 29 tankers currently up over the United States. Keep in mind, Flashbang's headed over here to Colorado Springs today, so we'll look at that here in a minute as well. So let's do this. Let's go over here to our watch list and kind of get through it. Starting it off with, we've got this little Phoenix Air a little further inland than we normally see. It's a little Embraer 120 that's typically goes kind of back and forth in Southern California to the islands. A lot of survey flights. Again, we're sitting around 28 up right now across the United States. And then we do have a couple scattered in other countries too. We'll look at that here in a minute. But I got the Habals still up. That's going to be your intelligence balloons. Yes, those are gathering data on the citizenry. Yeah. That's, yep. There's 3 of them up actually right there. It's hard to see the other one, but because it doesn't have a balloon icon. But the rest of these, again, survey flights, primarily over the United States, which tells you that is who is behind all of this. Somebody in or within the government construct within the United States is probably driving all of these surveys. Okay, and over here to Europe, we do have a couple surveys up here as well, which is pretty late in the evening, but notice we've got a couple not air refuelers, but AWACS up. There's your surveys. Check them out. There they are. And then those are actually Intel balloons that are just showing low altitude right there. That's another survey, the NA. And then we've got a Navy P-8. Looks like a AWACS, NATO AWACS. And let's see. Yeah, another survey plane. Oh, sorry, that is an AWACS. Sorry, not survey. Those are surveys over to the left. And then again, another survey. And a Q-4 drone, which is not a survey, but a data collector, right? That's out over the Black Sea. So it looks like we have been seeing that a lot more frequently lately. And then we get down here to Australia, which this is the middle of the night, and we have a survey plane up, which is pretty unusual. Don't see that too often. What are they doing at night? I don't know. Head up here to Japan or Asia. And notice here That little trail that comes rolling in, that is actually an Antonov 124. It coming in and out of Taiwan. All right. And then here, Luxembourg, these are C-17s, by the way. And looks like a fiber optic network just rolling in and out. Looks like Ramstein's getting a little more action on the C-17 front right now. And we got some stuff up there in here, Norway and Oslo. And then Middle East down into Africa, which is interesting. We've got a lot of stuff going on down towards Nairobi in that general area. That looks to be the Brits, actually. We'll look at some more Brit flights here in a minute. And then let's get down to, we'll head over to Japan. Again, pretty light for C-17 activity, considering that there's a lot of talk that that region's going to go hot. Not a lot going on there. And then Australia, and that's probably going to be your Australian Air Force flying around down there, down under. And then, of course, the United States. Just noticed very port-centric flights. Again, C-17, so these are heavy transports. Okay, let's get over here to the 3-day survey. And started out down under. It's got some stuff going on down in Tasmania. Again, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, headed northbound. Then over here to Perth. Again, these are survey flights. Nothing but survey flights. The fact that we continue to see them down there, and I don't, like I said, I don't know if this is the normal time of season because they are opposite of us. So, all right, across the United States, notice the transitions. That's the long lines, and then we've got more survey work continuing. Arizona, California. We get up here to Washington State, Portland, Oregon area, Canada, starting to pop with more survey flights over the populace there in Canada. Same spots across the United States. They seem to be looking deeper. And then you get down into Florida, and again, very, very active and busy in Florida, continuing to be active and busy. A total of 204 survey flights the last 3 days. Then we get over here, just notice you get down near Belgium, Netherlands. Don't really understand that flight pattern, but there is definitely some legwork going on down there. And then we get up here near the Baltic Sea, right along at Sweden. Notice Stockholm down south towards the water, kind of out over the water, really. And then we've got some more stuff over near Turin, Italy, and then we have some more stuff going here down north of Tripoli over the water again. And then some more legs down there in Portugal. All right, well, that's going to be our survey flights for the last 3 days. Let's get back over here to our mini board, and we're going to get into the news. All right, so this is going to be Flashbang's schedule for today. Again, he's headed over to Colorado Springs. If we pop up the radar map, you can see it has already disappeared. I wonder if he canceled that. Interesting. Well, we did have it right here. It looks to be very small. And that's an air show, so I don't know. Let me go back to his schedule and see if that thing got canceled or moved or something. But we did have a TFR over Colorado Springs, been there for a couple days. And then if we get up north, just notice the fires up here in Canada. Pretty crazy. All right, let me back out of that. Let's get back over here to his schedule. Well, you know what? He's arriving in Colorado Springs this evening, 5:40 local time. 7:40 p.m. Central Time, but yet the TFR is not showing. We'll see if it's on the NOTAM when we get over to that side of it, but very interesting. All right, let's get into the news. You guys may have seen this if you're watching your computer screens on the stock market right now, but it was down about 300 points ahead of a debt ceiling vote, and I think they're still worried that that ain't going to go through. We'll see what happens, but you can see up here just the top of the screen here, well, actually the middle of the screen now, everything is down, and 271 at the latest count, according to Yahoo Finance. All right, U.S. faces massive shortage of prescription drugs. Now this, we've been talking about the shortages that were coming we get most of our stuff from China, if you haven't figured that out yet. And so the fact that all of a sudden our shelves are starting to go bare when it comes to critical product shouldn't surprise us. But you probably have noticed it if you've gone into your drugstore or your grocery store and you're looking for children's Tylenol and it's not there. Or if you've gone to get a prescription filled and they tell you that where normally it would be ready like within an hour or two, they're telling you it's a couple of days. And so it's because you have to order it. And so that is going to be more of that to come, no doubt about it. And then so continuing on the heels of the China piece, China's factory activity falls faster than expected as recovery stumbles. Now, of course, this is showing manufacturing automobiles, but they're actually across the what they call the Purchasing Managers Index, or the PMI. It fell down to 48.8 from 49.2, which is an indicator that things are stalling out, even for China. And I guess because we are probably 25% of their gross domestic product, trade. In terms of trade, 25% United States takes up about 25, maybe a little bit more than that. When we're not getting it, then their economy is going to suffer as well. But again, it's probably all intentional. So, all right, let's get over here to our immigrant machine here. This is Swift Air. Just it looks like the board has rotated since the last time I looked at it about an hour ago. Well, we're still showing up here the TFR on this, so maybe it just is a weather app deal that didn't update, but it looks like he's still got that in play. But what are we showing? About 7-8 flights currently. Just noticed they're coming out of El Salvador Valley, El Paso. So most of these are going to be Laredo and then Ontario, California. So most of these are going to be border related locations. It's where they're going from there that is the concern. Looks like most of them are headed down south, although earlier this morning it looked like there were quite a few to the interior of our country. All right, let's take a look at the NOTAMs. This thing has since, we do have this one. This is actually a Starlink TFR way down south here. Don't know what that's all about. Let me back it up and see if there's anything else. I'm not seeing anything catches my eye other than it looks like we've got quite a bit starting up out here. Sweden looks to be into exercise mode, as is this off the coast of Norway, out in the Norwegian Sea. And it looks like a danger area. And let's see if there's anything else catches my eye. I think we're good there. So let's move on. All right, cyber attacks for today. Still, everything's one directional here into the United States, or unidirectional. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like U.S. and Brazil are getting the brunt of it. U.K. and Australia and Canada are the final, making up the top 5 in terms of attacks. A little lighter than what we've seen in the last couple weeks. All right. So this is interesting because I don't really think it's relevant, although there's some data points in here that we need to pay attention to. But basically, U.S. has basically flown a B-1 bomber, or a couple B-1 bombers over the Balkans as tensions boil. And it's because what happened was somebody appointed some mayors, I guess, over a certain area that was just not favorable. So it has to do with Sarajevo and Bosnia on Tuesday. And so anyway, short story long, they have basically... they flew over the area I don't know if that's is that supposed to be an indicator that, we're going to bomb you if you don't stop? I really don't get it. But anyway, coming from the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, they're basically saying that NATO forces are exacerbating the situation. I guess it started when Albanian mayors were installed over Serb-dominant communities in Kosovo. There you have it. But I don't know. I mean, flying that over, it's like watching an air show. It's really high altitude, even though they did say it was a low bomber flyover. But yeah, anyway. All right, we'll move on. Nothing really to see here other than I will say this. The peacekeeping forces that are currently occupying that area are, it's actually National Guard unit out of Kentucky, which I thought was interesting, holding down the fort there. Okay, U.S. test MQ-9 Reaper drone with SATCOM upgrade. They said it worked spectacularly, and they're going to be modifying these aircraft going forward. But just notice there is a key trend that we're starting to see, whether it's the centers getting cell phones or whether we are starting to mount capabilities to Q9 drone Reapers, satellite communications over and over and over. We're starting to see that more and more. It's because I think militaries are quickly recognizing the fact that the only way they're going to be able to have communications is through this mechanism. All right. Here we go. Moscow explosions basically kick off as multiple drones hit Russian capital. This is kind of crazy, and I'm surprised this actually hasn't started the war up, at least from a Russian perspective. I did see that Russia basically popped off about 16 missiles into Kiev in recent days, but it looks like the Ukrainians have returned the volley, hitting key locations within Moscow, which, again, that's the heart of, Russia. So, I don't know. Let's see how long they continue to watch this take shape and allow it. But it looks like the damage was insignificant. That may be why they're not worrying too much about it. But you can see one of the explosion experts is now looking at the damage on a building, blew out some windows, etc. So we'll keep our eye on that. But that's definitely an interesting dynamic when they start to send drones across a border and take out targets, right? Okay, it's coming from Blinken. It's basically saying the time is now for Sweden to join NATO. I guess he's pressuring Turkey. Evidently, Sweden has made some comments about Turkey and them being a terrorist state, and that is why Turkey is holding out on the vote to allow Sweden to get in. I did find the timing interesting because as the investigation continued on relative to the Nord Stream, Sweden kind of seemed like they got cold feet. So we'll watch and see if this ends up happening. But this also could be an indicator that we're about to see some action here soon as they try to shore up the community within NATO for a spring offensive. All right, here's your camber flights. You notice that the board just dropped down about half, but it looks like we've got a couple things. One taken off out of Doha, one coming out of Crete, and another one coming out of Cairo. And the one coming out of Cairo looks to be headed eastbound into the Middle East, coming out of Cairo. And then, or should I say deep into the Middle East? How's that? Pretty close to the Persian Gulf here. It looks like that is the place. Actually, that's Doha. That's one is taking off, but that more than likely is where we're going to see these things down in here. All right, so that's going to be your camber flights again. Those are more than likely troops, although the 747-400 may or may not be. Moving on to Biggs. Now, we'll keep our eye on this one because this is key for a couple things. Migrant movements, because keep in mind that there is a very large immigrant camp there at Biggs Army Airfield in El Paso. And so notice here we've got some of the smaller A320 Airbuses rolling in from Cherry Point. And where did they go from there? Des Moines, Iowa, and Cincinnati. So those are probably immigrant related, getting, basically rehoming some folks. And then notice here too, we do have an Atlas Air coming in from Portsmouth, 747-400. That's probably picking up artillery. And then we have this Omni Air coming in from Perot Field in Fort Worth Alliance. Looks like an Eastern airline was also on the board. I don't see it over here on the arrivals, but it is on the departure board. Headed to Fort Hood. And where else? Okay, looks like Atlas Air is headed to Houston Bush, which is interesting location. And then another camber flight, 747, that's scheduled to go out. Again, these are two big boys here rolling out, 747s and then an Omni Air which is headed back to Baltimore, Washington from here. So it looks like it came in from Perot and then headed back to Baltimore, Washington. So we've got a mix of everything, really. Immigrant, probably troops, as well as equipment. Then we get over here to Dover, and I'm not seeing. I got an Atlas Air coming in from Chicago. That's it. That's all we got coming in and out of Dover. Pretty light day for Dover, middle of the week. And then here, this is going to be over to Ramstein. Notice we got camber flights coming in from MacDill. That's Tampa, 747-400. And then this 777 coming in from Baltimore, Washington. That is probably troops. And this one coming in from Dover, 747. And then from there, look at this 747's headed into RZE. That's going to be Poland. That's forward operating base. And then this one rolling down to Cairo and another one down to Kuwait, 747. Just moving stuff around. All right, here's your RZE for the day. Remember, this is Ukraine. This is Poland. And we're going to go down a little further to see if we've got anything on the board that catches my eye. We do have one camper coming in from Ramstein, 747. And let me get on down. Not see anything else. Pretty light there. Let's see what we got outbound wise. Just that Atlas Air headed to Turkey from RZE. Yeah, not seeing any really. This is pretty light. So I think this is a pretty good indicator. All the assets are in play. We're ready to roll with the spring offensive if it heads that way. If it still takes shape, we'll see what happens. But all right, notice you got a little typhoon out here headed into China. And let's see, this is going to be national cargo. Looks like that one's coming out of Guam, headed up to Aichi. All right. So, see, it looks like it's actually about to land in Aichi. Descending, it's at 12,000 feet at 410 miles an hour. So, locking in on final. And then we'll get over here to Western Global. I'm only showing two up, one out of Chicago headed to Narita. Let's see, that's Tokyo, easier to say. And then Travis Air Force Base. So, coming out of Southwest Florida. Interesting. All right. Moving on. Here's the Omni. I only got one Omni on the board right now. Looks like it's coming out of Colorado Springs, which just so happens to be where the president is going today. And then it looks like headed up to Anchorage, Alaska from there. Probably headed across the drink. It's a 67200, so more than likely it's going to be some troops. And then let's get over here to this one, NATO. We're going to start tracking some of the NATO flights. This looks like it's coming out of Erfurt. I don't know, Erfurt. Okay, sounds good. Rolls all these names. And Eindhoven. All right, so anyway, looks like a quick hop there. If we back it up a little bit. We did have others coming down from up here in Sweden earlier today. Again, NATO aircraft. And we just kind of keep an eye on them. Really watch and see if any of them come in the United States. But so far, it looks like everything is European-based. All right. Over here to the Brits. We haven't watched them in a while in terms of activity. I had to reload them on the board. Sometimes it's you're tracking so many different things that they just drop off and you lose sight of them. So, all right. And so it looks like we do have one here coming out of Phoenix. It is on the climb out to 8,200 feet, 351 miles an hour. And then you have to ask, well, why are they in Phoenix? It's the Brits. We do a lot of foreign military sales stuff, so could be anything. Coming out of there, it's pretty close to Mesa, Arizona, which is it's where they make Apache helicopters. So could be foreign military sales related. And then it looks like we got our regulars, one coming back into the UK, one headed down southbound, and the other one is just getting airborne, looks to be. Now, I did have one just a little while ago going into Nairobi, Kenya, and that has since landed and gone off of the grid, so to speak. So, okay, listen, that's going to do it for Sitrep today. We're going to continue to watch this stuff. We got 21 days left until summer is here, and if there is a spring offensive, it's going to happen within those 21 days. And if not, it could have been a big bluff. And we'll just continue on with the status quo. But it looks like all the assets are in place for this thing to get started. So, all right, that's it. You guys keep that powder dry. Stay frosty. We'll see you on Friday. God bless. Monkey out. Check out the latest gear and products at Monkey Werx US.